Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call the zoning subcommittee meeting for March 22nd, 2023 to order, Wednesday. Agnes, please call the roll.
Valakir,
Here.
Shane. Here. Nia Costello. Paulus. Lopez.
Here.
Zagorowski.
Here.
Labrie.
Here. Okay. In compliance with the open meeting law, this meeting is both being audio and video recorded. Is anyone else in the audience either audio or video recording? If so, please state your name and the reason for recording. Okay. Councilor Lopez is remote, excuse me. And also, I want to mention who's here. There's Chris from IT. We also have Councilor Krampus, Councilor Flam, Councilor Dobes. Mary Beth is on the committee, and we also have Agnes from the office. Okay. All right. I don't think anybody said that there were audio or video recording. Seeing or hearing none, we'll move on. Okay, some housekeeping procedures. We have a couple of issues tonight. When speaking public input comments, please address the chair. Please state your name and address when speaking. We're going to limit the input to 3 minutes, and it's going to be timed. So you're just going to have one time tonight to speak, and there will be no discussions on collective bargaining issues, personalities, or personal attacks. Okay, I think we're ready to go. Okay. All right. Okay, item number 1. This is an application for a home occupation license for the purpose of baking business. The applicant is Susan Gendron, 82 9th Avenue, Chicopee, Mass. 01020. Is Susan here? Okay, Susan, could you approach the microphone, please? State your name and your address and what your proposal is for this evening, please.
Sure.
Well, thank you, Councilor Flam. Okay. All right. Okay. Let me just read the reports, departmental reports, and then we're going to ask. Well, first of all, are there any neighbors here or abutters that might have some questions or concerns about this particular business or activity? Anybody on Zoom? Okay. I'm going to read into the record the reports that we have, and then we'll have some discussion. Okay. See, engineering comments, application for a home occupation license, no engineering comments. Okay, Department of Planning and Development. Regarding the home occupation license review for 82 9th Avenue. Councilor Valakir, applicant is requesting a home occupation license. Property is zoned residential A. Home occupation use in this district may be granted through a special permit by the City Council under Chapter 275, Section 52, subsection B11. Planning recommends that the special permit and home occupation license be approved on the condition that building department, fire department, health departments inspect the premises and improve. Let's see. We have. This is from the fire department. It said that they will schedule an inspection. I think that looks like all we have in the file. Okay. Before I open it up to the counselors, I just have a couple quick questions, ma'am. Do you have experience in doing this, or is this your first time in trying this?
My first time with an organized business.
Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Okay. Thank you. And this would be open every day, or how would you be selling your goods?
Mostly online or through text or phone, and
Okay.
I might deliver on occasion too, but
Okay, all right, thank you. Okay, counselors, Counselor Bree, go ahead.
Yes, you're not gonna have, delivery trucks picking up stuff and bringing them to, other, retail outlets?
No, with the license I'm applying for, I wouldn't be allowed to even sell to other.
You'll do all the deliveries, or somebody
Yep,
will
it would
pick
just be
up and
me.
stuff?
Or,
You don't anticipate a lot of traffic?
no.
Thank you.
Okay, all right, also Counselor, okay. Any other counselors have questions? Go ahead. Wait, Counselor.
Could you please speak into the mic, whoever's speaking?
That's me.
Oh, yes, Counselor, go ahead.
You don't anticipate high-level traffic at this point?
No, and it would be mostly pickup, and I don't really anticipate more than maybe 4 to 6 orders a week, so that,
Okay.
you know, something like that. It would be pickup during the times that I designate, and it would be during the day, hour type thing, and maybe just pickups would be maybe 2 days a week.
In regards to Mr. Balakir's review, we have one comment from the fire department, is that correct?
Yes,
Okay, do you have any questions on what the fire department said?
No, I just wondered if I reach out to them, or would they be contacting me for a time for an inspection?
okay, they'll contact you,
And
ma'am.
the health department and the building department too?
Yes, okay.
Do you anticipate any other departments other than building, health, and fire? No? I
Those are
just
the
want to
three.
make sure before you leave here, you know exactly what's
Lot of
what's
steps, I
happening.
know.
No, at least I don't, Counselor, not at this
Okay.
point. I think those are the big three,
Okay.
Yep.
All
Right.
right. Thank you.
okay? Any other counselors? Go ahead, Counselor Flynn.
Yeah, I'd like to see, this is up in Fairview in the neighborhood, and I'd like to, you're gonna make the appointments for pickup and I'd like to make it, part of the license to have it between the hours of 8 and 5, not late, not early morning, and she can guide her people at that time,
Right, that makes sense.
if it, for the board.
Now, as far as 8 to 5, would that be 7 days a week?
Would-
Is
do
that
you-
okay?
I'd rather see Monday through Friday, their normal business day, but if
Right.
she needs, well, here's the issue. If she's doing something for a wedding or something, they want to pick up or something, I have no problems, because it's, you said 4 or 5 times a week, that 8 to 5, one person pulling her house on a Saturday or Sunday is not going to make a big thing, because that's going to be probably part of her business,
Right.
is for weddings or stuff like that, early morning. So that's why I put 8 to 5 and not early morning or late night to do it. That's
Okay.
what I would like to see the board do.
Would
All
you,
right.
would you mind at 8 to 5, 7 days a week in case you've got a Saturday or Sunday delivery?
Yeah, and like I said, it might be 4 to 6 orders a week, but it might be picking up only 2 days a week. Most events are on weekends, so most people
Right.
want to pick up Friday, Saturday.
7 days
Yeah.
a week.
So 7 days a week, and
People
that's
work for a
not,
living and they're not all working after, or outside the hours of 8 to 5, Monday through Friday. So
Right.
you can't restrict your business like.
right. So we're not trying to over-restrict.
Right, Counselor Flynn? any
Yeah,
other
well, I
concerns?
actually know someone that asked me that question, so that's why I'm bringing it up. And I think it's fair, 8 to 5, there's plenty of time, Monday through
7
Friday,
days a week.
7 days a week.
Thank you.
Fair enough.
Anybody else have any questions or concerns? Anybody on Zoom, questions or concerns? Oh, Counselor Lopez, I think you have your hand up. Go ahead.
I do, thank you. I just want to ask the applicant, is 8 to 5 too restrictive? Just because thinking about home-based businesses and the type of business baking, for example, like those of us who work 9 to 5 or 8 to 5, if we needed to pick up an order after work, that's restrictive. There's no way that someone who's like a professional that needs to go pick something up can go do that after work with those hours. So is that too restrictive for the applicant? Does she need something like 8 to 7 or 6 to 7? I mean, if it's only 4 to 6 orders a week, I really don't see the need to be over restrictive on the time. And we also are able to pull back any permits if we ever needed to, if it became an issue. But I try to lean away from us over restricting from the beginning. So through the chair, if
Mr.
possible,
Chairman.
can we have the applicant answer if she would need more hours than that?
Okay, ma'am, what's your thinking there?
Well, she
Well-
raises a good point. For people that are working, it would be hard for them to be able to pick up, get there by 5.
Okay, because I know the other question, of course, was a concern about traffic. So, of course, would something like 8 to 8 probably be a little bit better potentially? So this way here, there wouldn't be, say, extra traffic after hours and maybe other neighbors might be concerned. Is that something that might be a possibility?
Yeah, even 7 is fine. I think most people, if they're working, could
Okay,
arrange to have someone at least pick up by 7.
okay,
Yeah,
all right,
so-
7.
Mr. Chairman, we have to keep in mind, this is in a neighborhood. We got to be careful. This is not a business, these are in people's neighborhoods. And then some people, I don't mind doing 1 day a week or something. I just want to be cautious when we give these occupancy because we have issues and daycare is already coming real early in the morning and then come picking up late because they're doing the after school. We got to be careful when this is not on a main street. These are in people's backyards.
No, I understand.
So please be considerate of them too.
I did take, you're right, that's something to be cognizant about. I did take a drive out there this afternoon. I went the full length of the street. It is a dead-end street.
I don't mind, maybe 1 or 2 days, but not the full. I don't believe we should do the whole week. And that's up to you, but I'm just saying,
Well,
that was the concern of the neighbors
Okay,
that I've talked to.
because I know that we have the flexibility also, if we
Correct.
do have some issues, that we can call the license back in and we can say, let's temper it maybe to a couple days a week because some of the neighbors are concerned. There is that possibility. Go ahead, Counselor.
No, we don't restrict people on having friends over their house, so you have control over when people pick it up. So I have a feeling you've already figured out, you're not gonna schedule 6 people for 5 o'clock or 3 o'clock. You're gonna do 1 here, 1 there, 1 here. So there is no traffic issue when you have control over when they pick it up. So you have 1 car at a time and the next hour another car. So no different than people traveling the street or coming over to visit. So again, as like I said before, people work for a living and they can't make it between 8 and 5. And then, the day of the week, there's no reason we can't let you manage it appropriately so your neighbors are happy and you get to do your business. And then again, if there's an issue, they can show up here and talk about it and we can revisit that permit. But
Right.
you can control that flow and you're gonna be, I'm sure you like your neighbors and they like you, so you're gonna do right. But you can manage that so there's no problems.
And
And
as
I
far
think you would.
as restricting the days, I would hate to have someone say, want to place an order and say, can I pick up on Tuesday? And I would have to say no because
Exactly.
the town doesn't allow pickup
No.
on Tuesday.
We'll give you the chance to do it right, and if you don't, then we can take care of it through the permit, so.
All right, thank you. So it seems that there's a sentiment here that I think probably the fair and equitable thing would be to try potentially, say, for example, if it's the will of the committee, 8 to 7 days of the week, and we'll see how it works. And then if we have some issues, we would call you in, Susan, and then we would say, well, we've had X, Y, and Z, hypothetically speaking, and then we would just have to temper it.
Can we add no more than 2 order pickups per hour? That,
Most
just
likely
to
that's how it
help
would
Frank
work
feel a little
out.
better?
Usually,
Well, it's not me, it's the neighbors
Well,
that brought
it's
it up to
the people you
me.
represent, so I want to
Yeah.
respect you for that. Yeah.
Well, again,
you.
I think to be somewhat fair, if this lady's just starting out with her business, why don't we just err on the side of caution in terms of flexibility, give her a little more leeway at this point, and rather than to be so restrictive, if say again, if someone has an issue and 2 or 3 people come at the same time, then she can't, and because if there's restrictive.
Right.
So,
And they're quick transactions.
right.
In and
yeah.
out.
Normally you give people a window like 4 to 6 or 3 to 6, but you don't know exactly when they're gonna.
Right.
So it could
Okay.
be 2 at a time.
All right.
But still, it's
But-
fast.
So
in
if
and out.
it's the will of the committee, why don't we do this? Motion to approve, subject to the conditions of the building department, fire department, health department, being met with the hours, 8 to 7 days a week. Right?
Does that
Miss-
sound good to you?
It does. It's
Okay.
reasonable.
And-
Yes, very
Yeah.
reasonable.
And I,
Okay.
Mr.
Frank,
Chairman.
is that reasonable to you?
Council has to test all of the, no,
George,
Mr.
I think-
Chairman.
Already pick up for
Frank,
you.
Chairman, yeah, I agree with Councilor Lopez is, it is restricted, so I have no problems with a couple hours at, after 5. But, it's, when it gets dark, people are watching, not right now, it's getting lighter out, but and as it was mentioned by Councilor Lopez, she made a good point, is we can always call it back in. So I have no problem, and people I know there, because I know people in the whole area, 2 of them had called me, they just had concern about it, will it be nights and as Councilor, Kushain said, people come and visit everybody every time, but you just want to caution if the business gets bigger. You know what I'm saying? So, and I hope it does a little
Right.
bit, but then you can live within it. I'm not
I
trying to
hope it
discourage
does.
your
And
business.
it's only
So
me,
I
so
agree
there's
with
only
you.
so much volume I can do, so
Seven,
it shouldn't get too crazy.
8 to 7 is
Yeah,
fine.
8 to 7, and, if she's just starting out, let's give her an opportunity, because we want to
Yep.
be business friendly if we can be in the city, and, give her an opportunity. Okay,
Thank
all
you.
right, you're welcome. So, before I write this up, Agnes, why don't you take the roll, please?
Valakir,
Yes.
Kushein,
Yes.
Piniac Costello.
Yes,
Lopez,
Yes.
Zagorowski.
Yes.
Labrie.
Yes.
Okay, just give me a minute to write this up, please.
Mr. Chairman, can we also add in there that, all the, department has to be, approved prior
Yes.
to the license being given?
It's in
did
the,
Oh, you
mention- I did mention motion to approve, subject to the conditions of the
Okay,
building
I'm sorry.
department, fire
Thank
department,
you.
health department being met within the hours. Okay? Yep, no, you're welcome. Let me just write this.
Part of my hearing.
Huh?
Mr. Valakir, I just want to make sure that clearly aware of what the are, 8 to 7, 7 days a week.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yes.
And if you have any questions,
Yes, Counselor, and I will read this before, finally, after everybody signs off.
because it does get a little confusing, 8 to 8, 8 to 6,
So we landed on 8 to 7, right?
8 to 7, yeah. Seven days a week. $29 days every other, well, every, See,
365 days.
Been practicing a lot.
You can have an online then?
Yeah, I have a Facebook page. I'm gonna start with Facebook. Already have it.
cookie can, we could have a cookie contest.
Always looking for testers.
Okay.
Neighbors have volunteered.
Hope you never have to, I had to ship 10 dozens to North Carolina, cryovac and everything. It was insane.
Mass doesn't allow me to chip, unfortunately.
Nope, use yours. Used to signing.
I was just trying to name.
Spelled it wrong too, or no, Fred spelled it wrong. It wasn't
I
even.
try to be consistent in my misspellings. On our committee.
Yes, yes,
Yes,
she
yes.
is.
She's on our committee.
Yes.
oh, thank you.
If you say it wrong, you'll spell it right. Yeah.
Okay, Dan, thank you very much.
It took me 2 years to
You need me to spell it out loud?
All right, so the
Think they
motion
spelled
on
it
the
wrong
floor
for you.
was to approve, subject to the conditions of the building department, fire department, and health department being met. Hours of business, 8 AM to 7 PM, 7 days a week. And, this, subcommittee voted unanimously, and this will go before the full board of, counselors, I believe, on April 4th, our next, city council meeting. All right?
Mhm.
Thank you very much for attending, and, have a good evening.
Thank you, you too.
Yes, yeah, I did get that. Okay, all right, that's item number 1. See, I'm gonna take that back, Bob. I'm gonna read that. Okay, all right. Item number 2 on, tonight's agenda This is a zone change application to apply the mill conversion and commercial center overlay district for 33,130 plus or minus square feet of property located at 105 East Street for the purpose of allowing for future construction of a residential development to be located at the above referenced property. Applicant is PREM LLC, Co. of Dinesh Patel, 36 Yarmouth Drive, Agawam, Mass. 01001. Now, the applicant is not going to be here tonight. They had sent a letter in for request for continuance, and I'm going to read this into the record. This is a request for continuance, proposed zoning map amendment, 105 East Street, Chicopee, Massachusetts, 01020, parcel ID 0149-00007, RLA project file number 220609. This is dated March 17th, 2023. Dear President Laflamme and City Council members, on behalf of the applicant and property owner, PREM LLC, Co. of Mr. Dinesh Patel, our office is herein requesting that the City of Chicopee Zoning Committee continue the public hearing scheduled for Wednesday evening, March 22nd, 2023, for the above referenced property. We are hereby requesting to be placed on the next available City of Chicopee Zoning Committee meeting agenda. Should you have any questions or comments regarding this request, please do not hesitate to contact our office at your earliest convenience. Thank you for your time. Sincerely, R. Levesque Associates, Inc., Alexander Shirechi, Permitting Project Manager. Okay, so I want to read that into the record. So, that being said, I just have one other report to read into the record for tonight. And as I referenced, the applicant is not here tonight, but we are going to still allow any neighbors or any counselors to still speak their comments. We are going to restrict that to 3 minutes, so we won't be here until 11 o'clock tonight. And there will be continuance on this until the April 26th meeting. It's my understanding, what was mentioned to me was that the our Levesque Associates working with the applicant, there's some additional modifications to the project. So they have requested a continuance, and with circumstances like this, based on the past, we allow a continuance, and we'll have a full-blown meeting next month on the 26th. So I'm just going to read one other report here. This is a planning board recommendation, application of mill conversion, Commercial Center Overlay District, 105 East Street, file 22-3002. This reads as follows. The Chicopee Planning Board held a public hearing on Thursday, February 2nd, 2023. The purpose of the hearing was to consider the application of the mill conversion and Commercial Center Overlay District to 33,130 plus or minus square feet of property at 105 East Street, map 0049, parcel 00007, to allow for construction of a residential development with associated site improvements. The applicant is PREM LLC, Co. of Dinesh Patel. The applicant's address is 36 Yarmouth Drive, Agawam, Mass. 01001. The recommendation from the planning board was the approval. There were 3 individuals that voted for a favorable recommendation. There was 1 individual voting for a negative recommendation, and therefore, because it was 3-1, it was recommended by the planning board recommendation. Okay. So what we're going to do is, I'm not sure If there are any abutters, with this particular property of, again, 105 East Street, and if there are any abutters out in the audience, are there any abutters here that have some questions or comments? Okay. So what we're gonna allow, again, is we're gonna have a 3-minute time limit, but you can come to the microphone. Please state your name and address and your concerns, and again, in the interest of fairness, and brevity, we're gonna allow just 3 minutes, okay? So whoever wants to come up first to the microphone, you can come up and, you can speak for 3 minutes. Again, mention, your name and address, please, for the record, and, what's on your mind, and again, let's, be fair to the project, and, let's, decent with our comments as well, all right? Okay. And again, if something is repetitious or if it's duplicated, we're not gonna really give you much of a chance to say anything because we're looking for, new information that, is relevant to the project and or your concerns, okay? So whoever wants to come up first, go ahead, sir. Again, please state your name and address, and, go ahead, sir, and, what's on your mind? Go
Lou
ahead.
Suzor, 55 Fuller Street,
Okay,
right on the side of
okay,
property. But the concerns for my family is, we don't care what kind of housing's there at all, low income, but one mansion, we're concerned about parking. Public streets are public streets, anybody can park on them, but anytime you drive down Fuller Street, any time of day or night, it's full from one end to the other. There's nowhere to park. As long as they have, I just feel that as long as they have enough parking for the amount of units they want to put in, and also, we'd like to see, on my street, most of the people that I spoke to, we'd like to see a fence on the street with the property being, done. We'd like to see the driveway in and the driveway out on East Street. That way, people don't go all the way down Maple Street and Linden Street to go in, and same thing, they don't go all the way down East Street Ave and Fuller Street to go in and out all day long. That's a lot of traffic.
Okay, all right, okay, thank you. Any other thoughts at this point?
Nope.
Okay, because again, thank you for coming. As I stated, we're gonna have a full, meeting next month, and, the developer asked for some, additional time because it's my understanding they're gonna be making some modifications of the plans, and, hopefully with the understanding that they're gonna take care of the neighborhood, okay?
Okay, appreciate it, thank you.
All right, thank you, sir. Okay, who's up next, please? Okay, again, sir, state your name and address, and, what your, thinking is, please.
Yeah, Donald Jakir, abutter 87 East Street.
Okay,
So on the parking thing, if I don't know a lot about this project. I haven't seen a plan. I understand though it's 24 units. These days, that's 2 cars per unit. Nobody has just 1 car anymore, 48 parking spots. I don't see how they're gonna fit 24 units and all those parking spots in that area. I'd be concerned about off-street parking, and I'd be concerned about drainage. And my other question is, if everything around that, because I know Teddy Bear Pools, the funeral home is probably zone business, but everything else around that is residential B or C. So I don't know why this area wouldn't be zoned B or C, just like the rest of the area. If it's gonna go from business, it should go to residential B or C. That's what I think, that it shouldn't be allowed to go to this 24 unit in that area. Just gonna bring a lot of traffic, a lot of headache in that area.
okay, all right. Okay, all right, thank you. Thank you for coming. All right, thank you.
I'm sorry, I would like to see a plan of what it looks like on paper, which probably would have been here if they were here. At least
Correct.
if I had that to look at, I'd know, so I'm just speaking off of what I think it's gonna look like, okay?
Right,
Yeah,
no,
all right.
I understand, because if you just hold on one second, please.
Yeah.
Our Levesque has come before us in the past, and they have, usually very good renderings, and they explain things, so you will have that opportunity, and they will come prepared. Because
Okay.
that's one of
Yeah.
the things that we ask them to be prepared as possible, so there's a meeting of the minds between what they're proposing, and in turn, what the neighbors and abutters should be looking for. Right.
you know, and a unit that size is gonna have dumpsters, recyclable, this and that, so they gotta have an area for that, and,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, a lot of big complexes like that really need to be maintained as
Absolutely.
landlords and not left up, so.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Okay, all right, okay,
Okay.
thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there another, person? Go ahead, sir. Please make your way up.
My name is Gordon Bissett, 26 East Street Ave. The biggest concern and on that street is when you go around a corner, the snow is so bad in the winter. It's not, they close it in more and more for no parking. They can't park when there's too much snow. And they're building this, and they're building all this, and they start trying to park on the side street. The fire truck can't get down around the bend. It's too narrow. They have problems in the past of trying to get down that street,
Okay,
the fire trucks and that. There's a couple incidents where they couldn't even get down it. You know, even with the building that burned down, they went to go down it, they couldn't get down. They had to run the hose from one end of the street way down to the other end of the street to put the fire out, because they couldn't get down that street. That's the main concern. I'm worried about the snow and parking in that street area around the bend.
right.
That's it.
Okay, all right, again, thank you for coming, and, our Levesque is gonna be here next month for the meeting, and, so hopefully all these issues will be addressed.
Hope it
Okay.
works out.
All right, sure,
Thank you.
yeah, yeah, thank you. Anybody else in the audience? Okay? Anybody on Zoom? Okay, no, I was gonna have Fred come up, but I was. All right.
Gonna make me go back to my AV days, huh?
Lift it, not raise it.
What did you-
You're not doing it no more.
Good evening. I'm Fred Krampus, Ward 5 City Councilor. I appreciate some of the residents coming out tonight. I've received calls and emails from residents concerned about the number of apartments that are going to be on that property and about access in and out of the property. One of the things that I had concerns about was access off of Fuller, if they were going to put in an entranceway, because if you navigate down East Street Avenue and then try to turn onto Fuller, that's pretty tight. So in the conceptual design, it looked like there was going to be no entrance off of Fuller, but I know we need to wait until we actually get some more developed plans, as was mentioned about drainage and that, and then how to get in and out of the property. So those were, you know, many of the concerns that I've received. Unfortunately, I did not bring the email for Mr. Levesque, but what I'll do is for the folks that are here, if you can give me your name and phone number and your address, I can pass along contact info to you, because when our Levesque did reach out to me, I did, you know, say that I would pass the information on to my constituents so that, you know, if they had concerns or ideas, they could, you know, mention that to them so that prior to the meeting, you know, some of the stuff could be worked out. So I'll be happy to stay after the meeting, and if you can find my piece of paper and just, you know, let me know your name and address, I can pass on that information. It's the property is currently zoned commercial A, which does allow a business component, and this part of the process is to allow a residential component to go onto that property. So that's kind of where we are now, but I'm hoping that our Levesque will you know, be able to make some modifications to the you know, the concept plan that they presented, because I think that caught a lot of people off guard with a proposal of up to 24 units. So I hope the committee will keep that in mind, and then keep that in mind during your April 26th meeting. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Okay, counselors, other counselors, sure, go ahead. Go ahead, Gary. But ma'am, please state your name and your address, please.
Rachel Lindsay, 18 Hamilton Street, which is kind of diagonally across from the corner we're talking about.
Okay,
Hamilton is a pretty narrow street. There's parking allowed on one side of the street, which several young families have moved in and are parking on the street. So there's only one lane of travel on the street. that street is used as the connector from Broadway to East Street and vice versa. It's a very busy street already. The fire department uses it to go back to the police station, the fire station, safety complex. The ladder truck, the new one in particular, comes down our street quite often. I'm concerned about safety if we add up to possibly 48 cars. I think it's a serious issue. Also, that corner is a major bus stop for the school children, morning and night. Lot of parents standing on the corners, kids bouncing around on the corners. It's a dangerous spot. We just got a crosswalk put in a couple of years ago after quite a bit of fighting. It's a tough spot. And I'm concerned. I can't get out of my driveway now, so I don't know what it would be like. But so safety issues and traffic issues.
Okay,
Okay.
all right, okay, thank you. Thanks for coming. Okay, all set with people out here, butters, neighbors, okay? Councilor Dobes, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll be brief. I have 4 questions. If I could ask through you to the attorney, if that's okay.
Sure.
To our attorney, how much can the city council restrict this type of zone change? I'm still confused on the mill conversion. From my understanding, we can restrict the number of units. Is that correct?
Right, so let me kind of give a little bit of background. This is actually a 2-step process. Step number 1 is where we are right now, and that's a determination of whether or not you want to actually impose the mill conversion district on this particular piece of property. So that's just a general question. Is it appropriate to place a mill conversion on this piece of property? And really all that means is this is currently a business zone property. The mill conversion overlay allows residential development on that piece. So that's what we're dealing with tonight. If this mill overlay is approved, there is a second, more substantial process that happens, which is a special permit process. Again, that's a process that's controlled and voted on by the city council. At that step, typically the developers come in with much more detailed plans. So what I expect to hear from Levesque at the next meeting is kind of a conceptual plan, which kind of gives you an idea. If these are where the houses are going to be, this is where the entrance is going to be, the exit, where the snow removal is going to be, the dumpster, those types of things, just a conceptual plan of what they think can go onto the property. The second part, which is more detailed, again, gives plans. So they give specific plans that we see and look at. At that particular juncture, which is the special permit process, the council has full discretion to impose whatever conditions it feels is appropriate. So for example, if the plans that they've submitted to us shows 24 residences, the council can look at it, consider traffic, consider congestion, density. They can at that point reduce the number that they would allow, a number of residents they would allow on that particular piece of property. So again, yes, at some point in the process, the council can do that. This particular step was the preliminary step, no. Step number 2, which is special permit, which again is controlled by the city council, that's the step at which time they can impose reasonable restrictions and conditions.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you to our attorney, Dan Garvey. Thank you. So just that we approve the mill conversion zone change, and this applicant wanted to do like a bait and switch, right? And they wanted to put, a business here or something like that. Would the city council be able to deny that through the special permit process?
Right. So if they tried to give plans other than what was approved, we could deny the special permit. Now, the overlay allows them to put residential buildings on that property. If they choose to go that route, we do have the special permit process, which allows us to place restrictions. The overlay district does not forbid them from going back to the original underlying zoning. So they could, without approval of the council, they could put a commercial property, a commercial use in there, so long as it complies with our zoning ordinances. So it's kind of a tricky question. Can they put residential housing out there without getting a special permit? No. Can they go back to the underlying designation and put something in there that's allowed by right? Yes.
Okay, thank you. I'm only asking that question because our ordinance says that this basically allows, like it could allow unrestricted building as long as we approve the special permit.
If you allow the special permit, they have to come to us, and the council is the one that decides density.
Okay.
Number of units, where the trash bins go.
it's more of a SPRAC review, but we do have that power to impose conditions at the special permit process.
Is the main reason for this type of zone change, is it mainly grants or,
Nope, the purpose is to allow them to construct residential buildings or properties on an otherwise commercial piece of property.
commercial piece of property?
That's the purpose. The purpose is to allow a use that's not allowed under our current zoning ordinance, which is residential.
Thank you. And my last question, from my understanding, the city council's if we approve a mill conversion right now, they have 1 year to start construction. The city council is considering expanding that to 3 years. If we vote on that prior to this getting approved, would they have 3 years rather than the 1 year?
No, it's still the 1 year until we approve the 3 year. There's discussions about that, but we haven't made any
So
formal
if we
request.
approve them right now, and then afterwards we extend it to 3 years, would they have 1 year or 3
That's
years?
not retroactive, no. It's only future projects.
So they'd have to reapply to get to 3 years?
Exactly.
Okay, all right, thank you. I'm all set, thank you.
All set? Okay, Councilor Flam.
Yeah, to our attorney. So Dan, the way I look at it is going this way for the special permit is the best way to go. We have better control. One being is if it's the commercial one, if they go back to say commercial, they could put anything in there. There's a lot of things that could be worse that we cannot even control. We have no say. They could go and put something and have 25 more cars and have 50 cars. My point being is where at least with this, it not only goes through the SPRAC review, which I believe it goes through the SPRAC review,
Correct.
but we have full control. So when we get those prints in front of us, we're going to be able to say, well, and I'm repeating myself here, 24, which I like the idea of going that way where we have full control, as it was mentioned. We have nothing to look at, but we're going to be looking at that and saying, we heard the residents, this is what we're going to offer you. If you don't like it, it's not going to work out. He can then turn back and go back to commercial, correct?
Correct.
And so to me, I try to weigh and at least give the opportunity, and I mentioned talking to someone earlier, is let's see the plans, because, I heard 24, I heard 18, I heard less than that. So we don't know what it is. It might work out for them better than having a business in there that might be open from 6 to 9 at night. So it's just something we should look at. I'm for the mill conversion because it gives us more control in what we see and what we can do versus the other way. Am I correct? It gives us more control to a point.
To a point,
And,
yes.
and what I mean, and I know there's always something, but at least we're going to see the plan and we don't have to approve those plans.
Correct.
And the only bad thing about that after that, he goes back to the commercial.
Correct.
So it gives us something to say yes. And again, the SPRAC review, as we all know, is all departments being involved, the fire department, the police department, all of them involved, where they come with their answers of what we pay them to do, to tell us, will this be safe for the neighborhood or will it not? And taking all into effect what the neighborhood said. So, and the conditions, correct. Thank you.
Okay, also Councilor Flam?
Yep.
Okay. Well, Councilor Bree, then, sorry, he had his hand up first.
Yeah, no, I'm glad, Councilor Flam brought that up because, right now, they could put a commercial, I'm not gonna mention names, but commercial coffee house there with a lot of traffic in and out of there. And we want to have control, so, what I hear about the overlay district gives us, control with this SPRAC review and whatever. I just want to reiterate that I know, there are certain businesses that, looking at the side streets here, that should not go there. The furniture store, or whatever it was before that was pretty, yeah, the Temple, right. But at one time, I think it was a furniture store. And there was very low traffic, so people got used to that. And all of a sudden, something could go up there and really, that's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. All set? Okay. Fred, go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to quickly request, I know there was talk about if it is postponed to the April 26th meeting, that there may not necessarily be a reason for notification or mailings, and I would like to request that the notices be remailed for that date, because I had quite a few people contact me, and I said, well, it's probably going to be the 26th, but rather than me trying to, spread the word, I think if another mailing goes out with the correct date, I think that's the a proper way to do it, to, you know, have some transparency with it so that people are notified officially, rather than it falling through the cracks of relying on some folks to pass the word. So,
Agnes is on it already.
okay.
No,
Thank
no,
you.
you're right, Counselor. No, that's, we want to be as transparent as possible.
And the
so-
only other thing I was gonna add was actually many of the comments that I received, was a lot of folks thought maybe like some duplexes on that property might be a good fit, but obviously from our discussions, as Councilor Flam brought up about the special permit, that's something that we can look at, but I just wanted to pass that, was, you know, that came up a few times during discussions about what, you know, would be appropriate to go on there. So, thank you very much.
Okay,
Right there.
all right, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, second time, just this one time, please. Yeah, sure, go ahead.
Quick
Again, your
question.
name and address, sir.
Oh, yeah,
and-
Don Jagier, a butter, 87 East Street.
Okay.
Just have a question, I don't understand the process. If they're going, I know it's zone business, if they want it zone residential, why wouldn't we do the 200-yard outlay and then have it meet those same requirements as everything in that area versus this special permit? I just, like, is there a difference why they're going for the special permit versus just going for residential and then conforming to the outlays, the outbacks, the setbacks and everything of the area? I'm just curious on that.
Right, I think that's an interesting question, but based on what has been said through council and other counselors, the special permit gives us much more control as to what could be put there, and if there's some issues, we can always call them in. So there's much better control by having the special permit, okay?
But if it was zone residential C, I'm assuming the area is C, just by all the houses, wouldn't you have the control through all the setbacks and everything of residential C?
Well,
Just asking.
no,
Yeah.
I think anyway, we will have control,
Yeah.
okay? But the special permit seems to be the route. Unfortunately, our planner is not here right now to get into the real specifics of all the zoning of what it is. So that's my understanding, that the special permit is the best to go. Go ahead, excuse me, Counselor, go
I
ahead.
think I can answer, correct me if I'm wrong. So the overlay is a spot zoning.
Yeah.
We're giving them the opportunity to put residential in a business zone. But if we change the zoning, then it's gonna be a lot more cumbersome for, everybody's gonna be doing everything because it's gonna be different. It's gonna match everything. So it's almost like a spot zone. This overlay allows us to allow them to put up a residential.
Right.
If we deny it, then they're just put a business and it's gonna be a bigger nightmare. So we'll give them the opportunity to come to us with something decent for the neighborhood as residential. And then if they choose to go that, which they are, now we control that with a special permit because we're gonna give them the opportunity to build plans for residential by allowing the overlay. And then we get to look at the plans and decide if we like it or not in the special permit. So much more control versus zone changing the whole area. It's almost like a spot zone for that one spot.
Okay, I understand.
And in the city, we don't like spot zones, but this is appropriate.
Yeah,
Go
and
ahead.
I think he brings up a good question, but I think the question should be asked at the next meeting.
Yeah.
When you come to it, why he didn't go that route. He's
Okay.
requesting that route.
Yeah.
I prefer to see him answer that question to you in the public hearing, because we can all say what we believe and what's best, but it should come out of their mouth why they didn't go down that route, correct?
Exactly.
Okay, that's fair enough.
Yeah, I
Right.
think that's better.
Thank you,
Okay,
Counselor.
all right, thank you. Go ahead, Councilor Costello. Here, just
Microphone.
go by the mic, please. So-
Thank you, Counselor Balakir. They've indicated they want 24 apartments. Is that correct?
No, we don't.
Is that what the number I
We don't
heard?
know. Well, it's,
No,
No,
there's no
there's
plan.
the plans supposedly were being changed. Okay,
Okay.
that's why they're not here tonight.
All
So,
right.
but go ahead, Counselor.
If it's 24 or 12, how many bedrooms in each one? How many
don't
will
know.
have
There's no
3
plan.
bedrooms? Nothing right now.
No, we
No.
can't, unfortunately, we can't answer that because they're not here and I don't have anything
And
further.
so that, right now, they're not here and the plans are being changed.
Correct.
So right now, we have nothing
That's why they this is a
specific.
postponement.
Yeah, yeah,
Approving the postponement.
right.
Right.
Okay, but tentatively, I kept hearing I think I overheard Mr. Krampus at one time did mention the number 24. So that's why I was curious to see if that's going to be the number. If not, where is this going to go? But it's too early at this point.
Right.
And I
Okay.
just want to make sure that the residents are clear of what's happening here.
That was in the concept, that they were proposing 24 studio apartments, but again, it wasn't a detailed plan, it was simply a concept that they wanted to bring to the meeting, because I think they were more interested in showing how the the apartment building was gonna be designed to reflect that it looked like the old Masonic temple. I think that was really what they wanted to show, was that it would be, you know, it wouldn't be just, you know, a plain old building that would have some artistic value to it. But that was what they presented, so I'm obviously hoping that they downsize that number,
Okay,
in their revised plan.
okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, thank you. So no, we need more information. So I know that, again, that's one of the reasons why they're not here. It's my understanding, I was told that there's a change. So unfortunately, I can't give you anything more definitive, but April 26th, that's the next scheduled meeting, so that we'll have hopefully everything from our Levesque, okay? Anybody else have any questions or concerns? Anybody on Zoom? Okay. What I'd like to do is propose a motion to accept the request of the applicant for a continuance until April 26th, 2023, for the zoning meeting at City Hall, and council chambers. All right? Okay, all right, I'll take at 6:30. Thank you. 6:30, okay?
And, Counselor Balakir, for transparency, you want the notifications to be sent, should that be part of the motion to make sure that that's addressed?
Yes, we'll mention that note with proper notification to applicants, or excuse me, to abutters. That is a Wednesday to. All right, Agnes, before I write it up, could you, please take the roll?
Valakir,
Yes.
Kushein,
Yes.
Piniac Costello,
Yes.
Lopez,
Yes. Yes.
Zagorowski,
Yes.
Labrie.
Yes.
Okay. All right, thank you. Just give me a couple of minutes just to write this up, please. Thank you.
Bill.
Never had my knee done.
We have to sign. Councilor Kushein.
Sometime. Sure.
So is Councilor Lopez not?
She said yeah.
Okay, okay, all right, great. Well, I thought I heard something muffled, but I'm not sure.
Thank you, Agnes.
Get a break.
Yeah, I said yes for this one and the next motion to continuance as well.
All right, thank you very much, Agnes. Thank you. Okay, the motion was to accept the request of the applicant for continuance until April 26, 2023. Zoning subcommittee meeting at City Hall Council Chambers at 6:30 PM. And a notification of the meeting to be sent to all previous abutters. All right. And this will be referenced in the April 4th City Council meeting. Okay? Bill, be careful. Okay.
You just mind your business, old man.
Okay, item number 3. Yes, the vote was unanimous. Everybody voted in favor of it. Thank you. Okay. Okay, item number 3, zone change application to apply the mill conversion and commercial center overlay district for 118,613 square feet plus or minus square feet of property located at 480 and 510 Burnett Road for the purpose of constructing a residential development with associated site improvements be located at the above referenced properties. The applicant is Selma Realty, Inc. Mr. Peter Martins, 350 Cottage Street, Springfield, Mass. 01104. Okay. Okay. Excuse me, folks, can we just keep it down in the back, please, because we're gonna start, all right? Thank you. Okay. All right, we also have a letter that was sent from, guys, could you, we're being recorded, okay? Could you take it outside, please? All right, sorry, all right? Okay, so we also had a letter that was sent from R. Levesque Associates, and I'm going to read this into the record. This is a request for continuance, proposed zoning map amendment, 480 and 510 Burnett Road, Chicopee, Massachusetts, 01020, parcel IDs 0294-00005 and 0294-00004. RLA project file number 160305. I'm going to read this into the record. Dear President Laflamme and City Council members, and this is dated March 17th, 2023. On behalf of the applicant, Selma Realty, Inc., so of Mr. Peter Martins, our office is hereby requesting that the City of Chicopee Zoning Committee continue the public hearing scheduled for Wednesday evening, March 22nd, 2023, for the above referenced location. We are hereby requesting to be placed on the next available City of Chicopee Zoning Committee meeting agenda. Should you have any questions or comments regarding this request, please do not hesitate to contact our office at your earliest convenience. Thank you for your time. Sincerely, R. Levesque Associates, Alexandria Ciaretti, permitting project manager. Okay, so again, similar situation as with the previous item on the agenda. The only item I have here in the file, I'm going to read this also into the record before we open it up for public input. This is a letter from the Planning Board, and I'll read it as follows. Planning Board recommendation, application of mill conversion and commercial center overlay district 480 and 510 Burnett Road, file 22-3003. Chicopee Planning Board held a public hearing on Thursday, February 2nd, 2023. The purpose of the hearing was to consider the application of the mill conversion and commercial center overlay district to 118,613 plus or minus square feet of property at 480, and 510 Burnett Road, Chicopee, Mass, parcels 0294-00004 and 0294-00005 for the purpose of constructing a residential development with associated site improvements. The applicant was Salmar Realty, Inc., Co. Peter Martins. The applicant address, 350 Carter Street, Chicopee, Mass. Let me repeat that again. 350 Carter Street, Springfield, Mass. 01104. The recommendation is approval. Voting for a favorable recommendation, there were 3 members of the committee. Voting for a negative recommendation was 1 member. So this planning board recommendation passed 3-1. Okay. So again, we have a similar situation here that the applicant is not here. However, we're still going to have this hearing tonight. And again, we're going to have the same ground rules that we had before. You can come up to the mic. I'll ask that you give your name and your address and what your proposal or thinking is. And it's going to be limited to 3 minutes, please. Okay? And it's going to be timed. All right? So I think there are several abutters here or neighbors that have some concerns. So again, please come up to the mic and please state your name, your address, and 3 minutes to speak what's on your mind, please. And again, no personal attacks. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, my name is Richard Borbeau, 481 Burnett Road, Chicopee. I got this letter in the mail, and it doesn't say how many units they're looking to put in. And I know you guys probably don't know the answer to that, but I did notice that it says for 480 Burnett Road and 510 Burnett Road, and 480 Burnett Road has a Dunkin' Donuts. Are they looking to tear that down, or are they looking to get rid of that and make it all units, or?
Well, again, my understanding, Arlevec is looking at making some changes, some modifications. My initial understanding was that 480, they were supposed to make some modifications or some upgrades where the Dunkin' Donuts is. And then in turn on 510, there was a proposal for some residential units. But again, this could be changing. But again, this is what I was told earlier.
Yeah.
So again, unfortunately, because Arlevec is not here tonight, sir, we don't have any new renderings. It's my understanding that they were supposed to make some modifications to the project and try to be mindful of some of the neighbors' concerns. All right. So unfortunately, I can't give you any more information at this point. But again, if you have some additional concerns or what have you, we'll make note of that.
Do we have a date for the real meeting, when they're going to be available? Is the date picked out already?
Well, again, we're going to still have it at the same April 26th, which will be next month. And that's when Arlevec feels that they're going to have their changes and they will have their renderings. So they will be able to give us all a much better idea as to what the changes were.
And one last thing, can we be like the other people and have it all notified to us again and sent letters to everybody?
Correct.
So that everybody's on the same page, because,
Yes.
you know, I think it's a common courtesy to have everybody notified.
No, absolutely, sir. We believe in that at City Hall, that everybody is made aware of what's going on. So yes. Okay.
Very good, that's all.
All right. Okay. Thank you. Okay. Somebody else in the audience that has a question or concern to come up to the mic?
Derek does.
Okay. Councilor Dobas.
Thank you. I want to thank my constituents for coming tonight. The developer claims that he's going to keep the Dunkin' Donuts and the mini plaza there. So that's what he claims at this time. He says he wants to tear down where Deegan's is now. And he didn't give me or any residents any number of units, so I'm not really sure either. I just have 2 more questions. I still have just a little bit of concern with this mill conversion, but I'm sorry, Dan, just one last question here. So, you know, at Burnett Road, we're always nervous about a bait and switch by developer. And I'm not saying this developer is doing that, but my issue is, right, there's a huge difference between business A and industrial garden. And 4 no votes on the city council will block a zone change from business A to industrial, or business A to industrial garden. But if we approve this mill conversion zone change, and they apply and they decide to do a business instead of residential, and they applied for industrial instead of business A, I believe they would need a special permit from the council, which would only need 7 votes, right? 7 yes votes, right? So I would need 8 no votes to block it at that point. So that's kind of what I'm concerned about with businesses, is how does this work? How does businesses work with the mill conversion and overlay district?
Right, so it doesn't affect the underlying zone as it sits today, so that will remain as it is today. It doesn't jump from business A to industrial. If it's whatever it happens to be right now, so for example, if it's business A, it remains business A. So if the mill overlay is approved, all that does is it allows the residential development to occur on that, we're going to assume it's business A property. It does not allow them to do anything other than what's currently underlying on the business side, but it does allow them to come before the city council for a special permit for the residential use that's allowed under the mill conversion. So they can't flip-flop. If it's currently zoned business A, this vote has nothing to do with that underlying district. If they want to flip it to industrial A, they've got to come before the council and do just that.
Okay, I appreciate that. So they can't build something industrial,
No,
or something. They have to apply for industrial zone change for that.
this does not affect that at all. It's only, now, what I will say is if it's currently business A, they're still allowed to do whatever they want if it's business A and allowed under business A, but they can't flop to another zone without getting a proper zone change before the council.
Okay, I appreciate that. So this really only affects residential.
Exactly. This
Okay.
only allows a residential use on a business zone property.
Okay, thank you. My last question is, so if they want to build high-end condos, what's the difference between residential A and mill conversion? I'm only asking this, the Lee Pouliot says that residential A would be considered spot zoning, but the city-owned Burnett Road land is residential A by default.
Right, I'd have to defer to him, but it sounds to me like to the left of that, a couple down is industrial A, but as far as spot zone, I just don't have that information. When we are here with our planner at the next meeting, he'll be able to answer that question. I don't have a zoning map in front of me.
Okay, thank you.
But they can't flop, that's what I am sure of.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, I appreciate it, and there may be a constituent of mine on Zoom, I'm not sure. I
Okay.
appreciate it.
All right. Is there a constituent of Councilor Dobas on Zoom? If so, please state your name and your address, and limit your comments to 3 minutes, please. Chris, is there someone else here that's trying to get through?
Yeah, Dave Rossi, yeah.
Dave Rossi. Okay. Dave, are you there?
Yep, I'm right here. My name is David Rossi. Address is 106 Morrow Drive here in the city of Chicopee. And I just wanted to take the time to say thank you to Dan, our legal, for giving that explanation, as well as everyone on the committee tonight, for giving a better understanding to the residents exactly what mill conversion permit would be, and taking the steps necessary to ensure that the residents and the citizens in the city, are represented well. So I just want to thank everyone for that, and that'll be it.
Okay. All right. Okay, you're all set then?
Yep, thank you.
Okay. All right, thank you. Okay, any other counselors with questions, concerns? Okay, Counselor Costello, go ahead.
On the mill conversion.
Please speak to the
I'm sorry.
microphone.
On the mill conversion, that's normally done in cities and towns, or is it done in other areas of cities and towns? When I think of a mill conversion in an overlay district, I think of some town like ours with a downtown where you've got the zoning as a business, and now you want to put apartments there, so you do the overlay. Would that be what we're looking at here in a different location with Burnett Road?
Right, so that's a typical use of the mill overlay district. That is exactly what it is, but it is allowed throughout the city.
Okay, so if it's a mill overlay district and you're gonna do the overlay part of it, it's only going to be used for housing. In other words, you can't use it, in other words, an overlay cannot be, non-housing. It's gotta be, you got your business A, you're gonna do the mill conversion, you're gonna do the overlay, and that overlay would be for housing only.
Correct.
Okay, that type of housing, would that be like what Derek Dobas indicated, the possibility of condo? Or would it be residential C? Does it indicate specifically what kind of housing it is?
No, that's in step number 2, where those things are allowed. However, in order to be approved, they have to come back to the council for special permit. So you could do single homes, you could do duplexes, you could do an apartment building, but again, that's all subject to council approval on stage number 2, which is the special permit.
Okay, so I think Mr. Rossi's correct in regards to the explanation that when you talk about overlay districts, you're talking about taking one type of zone, and the government now has done overlays to increase housing, whether that type of housing would be for single family, two family, or multiple family. Is that correct?
Exactly. So the overlay is just what it sounds like. So you have your underlying zone, that stays constant. So if it's, for example, business A, it stays business A. You're just taking an overlay on top of it to say, in addition to what's allowed by right under the business zone that it's in, you're now allowing the possibility for housing.
Right.
And the fruition of the housing will only happen on stage number 2, which is a special permit.
Right, and at that stage, the residents are going to know what type of housing
Exactly.
that would be going into that particular area.
Correct, because you need to grant a special permit for that particular housing.
Okay. That's a good explanation, so that they know that there's no other zoning that's going to be affected except housing. But I think when the overlay districts came in 2008, and I know the city bought into that, and I think they got $600 for the overlay in regards as an incentive from the government. I do think that part of downtown was an overlay district, and that's going back to 2008. So now we're expanding our overlays from the downtown, which was done in 2008 for $600, into other types of neighborhoods, which have we ever done it in any other neighborhood other than Burnett Road?
I know Soldier On was one of them. The old, was it the Red House Schoolhouse? In Chicopee Street? We have done it, one of the schools, the old schools was converted under the mill.
Okay, but
mill
that would
conversion.
only be for that particular lot.
Correct.
Okay, I think
Exactly.
the overlay district in 2008 was far more than one lot. I think it was an entire section.
We're only
Yeah.
applying it to the one lot.
Correct.
Yeah, so if I can.
Go ahead.
Yeah, we approved the overlay, the city of Chicopee, the area. We wanted it from here, we went up towards your area, up to Burnett, wherever this general area. It's not just one area that the overlay was in. We're not approving another overlay. The overlay district was all approved by the city council. I would say 7 or 8 years ago, we did that, overlay, and I know it goes down to Wards 4 up to 6. And I think it goes a little bit into Ward 7, and that's it. It doesn't go up to Ward 9 or Ward 1. It was started in this whole area.
Right.
And as you mentioned, it's the whole area, but it has to be approved for that singular plot of property.
Well, I think it's good for the public to know that the overlay district has been around for a long time. And again, in 2008 is when I think it started. All right, thank you.
All right, all set, Counselor?
Yes.
Okay, all right. Any other counselors with questions or concerns? Counselor Lopez, any questions or concerns?
No questions or concerns.
Okay. Okay, I think what I'd like to do then is, I'd like to mirror the previous motion to accept the request of the applicant for continuous continuance, until April 26, 2023, zoning subcommittee meeting at City Hall, council chambers at 6:30, and notification of meeting to be sent to all previous abutters. Motion. Okay, all right. All right, okay.
6:30.
All right, at 6:30 PM. Okay, fine. Okay, so, all right. Okay, all right, Agnes, could you please call the roll?
Valakir,
Yes.
Kushein,
Yes.
Piniac Costello,
Yes.
Lopez,
Yes.
Zagorowski,
Yes.
Labrie.
Yes.
Okay, all right, thank you. It's unanimous, and let me just write this up.
Is this the? That was, yeah. Yeah.
Same thing.
Look at that. Yep. My name.
This was the easier meeting, gentlemen.
It was still too long. Really thought this would be 15 minutes.
Never know. You know, the discussion.
We have nothing to talk about. Questions fell on deaf ears because there's nobody here. So, going back.
Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you, Agnes. The motion was to accept the request of the applicant for continuance until April 26, 2023, zoning subcommittee meeting at City Hall Council Chambers at 6:30 PM. Notification of meeting to be sent to all previous abutters. The committee voted a unanimous vote, and, the next meeting will be April 26, excuse me, I beg your pardon. Well, that will be April 26, 2023 for this, but actually this will be going before the full council on the 4th of April. All right, thank you. Okay, next item is, minutes of February 22nd, 2023. Motion to accept, okay. Motion made and seconded, okay. All right, Agnes, could you please call the roll?
Valakir,
Yes.
Kushein,
Yes.
Piniac Costello.
Yes.
Lopez,
Yes.
Zagorowski.
Yes.
Labrie.
Yes. All right. Okay, thank you. And, could I get a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn is seconded. Agnes, please call the roll.
Valakir,
Yes.
Kushein,
Yes.
Piniac Costello, Lopez,
Yes.
Zagorowski,
Yes.
Labrie.
Yes. All right. Thank you very much. Appreciate everybody's help and support tonight. Thank you. Have a good evening.